I'm just gonna throw them all to
I
him.
need this bone analyzed, little guy. Be careful with it. There's a danger.
No, I guess we haven't looked at the one that infected.
Oh,
Chloe.
yeah, I guess so.
Can you warn me a little sooner next time? Give me a moment, please. Let's see here.
Well, did you find anything?
No, I've checked it out, but there's nothing especially unusual about it.
Is that so?
What's so odd about that?
This is the bone that Chloe swallowed. When she did, the same black focus that the patients in the quarantine zone had showed up inside her body. According to what Gabe said, the serviceman who had been investigating this bone
Had hemorrhagic fever.
Yep.
Hey, look, blast from the past.
What radiation would they even want us to think he was contaminated by?
So, in other words, the pathogen lurking in this bone is
A deadly
virus.
Pure evil.
I mean, that one's not wrong.
right. This bone carries a virus that triggers the hemorrhagic fever.
A virus? But this is just a skeleton. A virus requires living cells from its host in order to multiply. So, this virus not only survives the host's death, but can continue within a skeletonized corpse.
Can you really say that such a thing is impossible?
But...
That's not like you. Calm down, little guy. Everything we've seen up until now has taught us something. That there are diseases out there in the world that defy all our understanding and what we think of as common sense.
All right. Let's assume that it is a virus. That doesn't mean that all the mysteries have been solved. How does this virus live inside this skeleton? And why aren't we infected with the hemorrhagic fever after we've handled the bones?
Means of transmission must be something other than just touch.
I really can't say at this point. It's possible this person was infected with the virus. Or perhaps the skeleton had been contaminated after death. In any case, we'll need to continue investigating this in more detail.
Right.
However, I can explain why you and I haven't contracted the hemorrhagic fever.
What? How?
Well, according to what Gabe was told by the assistant secretary,
Airborne infection is impossible.
Yeah.
that's right. They concluded that an airborne infection was impossible. This was because the infection wasn't spreading within Usamarad. If that's the case, it's unlikely that the virus is dispersed through a respiratory vector.
Then how does it spread?
Well, in Chloe's case, the foci were located in areas where
I think so.
Well, where did the foci appear?
Yeah.
It was
Indeed.
right after
Black
we removed the
foci
bone.
only existed in areas that the bone fragments were in contact with. Taking that into consideration, this virus's route of infection is
Mother-to-child transmission. I like how we just said that it wasn't airborne infection.
And that's an option.
yes. In other words, the virus only has a limited means of transmission.
I see. That explains the cat's case, at least. But what about the Usamarad researcher?
Bone dust. He inhaled it.
I highly doubt that he'd be chewing on bones.
Good point. There must be an explanation for how that other serviceman was infected as well.
Hey, look, it's the explanation, the ground up
That's right.
bones.
Now we're starting to see how the serviceman at Usamarad was infected as well. The virus rests within that skeleton. The route of infection is,
We just went over this. Psychic power.
yes, it's when it comes in contact with a mucous membrane. Reaching a mucous membrane within the mouth or body causes the virus to infect that person. But there's no way that a researcher would lick or swallow a bone. However, the Usamarad staff did collect a bone sample for their research. In order to obtain that sample, the researcher
Shaved the bone.
Yeah.
Right. He used a router to shave away a portion of the bone. This is likely what caused the researcher to be infected. The reason for this is
Inhaled the bone powder. He touched the bone with his mouth.
yes, shaving bone with a router causes particles of bone dust to fly out into the air. It's likely that the researcher inhaled some of that powder while he was working. The powder then carried the infection and made contact with the mucous membranes. That is my hypothesis to explain the infection of the Usamarad researcher.
Okay. Dangerous infections. Try backing out. Nope. Gotta be something.
Yeah.
No.
Still haven't figured out the significance of there was a high concentration of nitrogen as well.
Yes, it seems that these can be combined. These
okay.
bones passed on the viral hemorrhagic fever via contact with mucous membranes. And whoever this was, they had been taking large doses of antiviral drugs along with a dangerous unapproved one. It's likely that this person was...
Infected by the virus.
Yeah.
Using himself as a test subject. A terrible doctor.
Yes. This individual had been infected with some kind of virus. That virus itself was...
If that's the case, then the cause of death was...
I should stop making conjectures. I need some hard evidence to back these theories
The
up.
blood?
Hemorrhagic fever causes hemorrhaging from all over the body, along with other various conditions. If we could find traces of that disease...
You mean like on his clothes?
hemorrhaging from all over.
Is something wrong?
And on his, the
Yeah.
cuffs of his
sleeves.
shirt.
Well, we just received the results from the analysis. It says that the bloodstain on the person's clothing contained traces of saliva.
Yeah.
Saliva. If that's the case, then that bloodstain was...
Vomited. From a gunshot wound.
Well, from a neck wound is at least not the stupidest
yes,
answer
it came through the
that
mouth,
I could think
likely
of.
by being vomited.
Well, it would explain why there was no damage to the clothing, but still blood.
That
Yeah.
would explain why there were no signs of damage to the person's clothing.
But the saliva confirms it.
The blood stain on the clothing was due to the person vomiting blood. The viral hemorrhagic fever causes bleeding from all over, both internally and externally. Vomiting blood is one of the signs of this disease as well. This person died of viral hemorrhagic fever. The evidence that I'm drawing that conclusion from is...
Well, let's see.
I mean, I guess the clothing was unchanged. Other than the blood, which I'd say is quite a
That's
significant
right.
change,
If
but
this
still.
person was still alive after having had an attack of vomiting blood, I highly doubt that they'd go on without doing something about the bloody clothes.
No, actually, that is true. They must have died right after vomiting
Or at least shortly
the
after.
blood, or
Thus,
shortly
the
after.
traces of vomited blood on the clothing indicate
don't look
that
like
this person
traces.
died soon after this attack.
We finally figured out the cause of death.
Yes, long before the pandemic that is currently raging broke out, this person caught and died of the viral hemorrhagic fever that caused this quarantine. Who in the world are you?
Dr. Kimishima, if I may,
Go on.
I've noticed something.
I'm all ears.
Well, this antiviral reagent, Ashvin's,
It's not on the market.
it was rejected by the FDA for its dangerous side effects. That, along with the large amount of antiviral drugs, these things aren't available to the general public.
You have a point. Someone who would have access to these things would be...
in the health,
profession. A famous billionaire. That's actually not impossible.
Yeah. If you
It would
pay
be
enough
someone who has
to
the
someone
knowledge
in
of
the
these
medical
new drugs
profession,
and
then you
their
could get those
effects on
two.
viruses. It would also be someone who has the authority to obtain such information from the medical community.
That's what I think. Does that help a little?
It's fantastic. Let's move on to the next step. How can we identify this individual, little guy?
Size of his bones?
But all we have is the skeleton and personal effects.
That shouldn't be a problem. Or is my opinion of you overrated? If this person is in the health profession, then the FBI database should have an entry. By studying the bones, we can narrow down just who this person was.
Why'd you ask me if you already knew the answer to your own question?
We don't have time for complaining. Look up details about skeletons in our forensics database. Send what you find over to my computer immediately.
Yikes. Give me a moment. There, I found them. You want me to send them over to you, right?
Now
That's
it's
what
time
I
for the
said.
grand reveal. Let's compare the skeleton's characteristics with our information. Then we can confirm just who this person is.
Wow, we got lots of evidence.
Okay, so let's do these two first.
15 types of amino acids were detected in the
Finally get to
skeleton.
use this card.
There was a very high concentration of
Yeah.
nitrogen as well. If I compare this information with the materials available,
Oh man, this is
We
where the
should've-
game. This is where the game actually expects you to know things. I want to say it's a couple months ago. It's like not that long ago. Nope.
concentrate.
Okay, well,
It probably says in the card, and we just didn't read it.
we can back out of this actually. Let's see if there's information on the card.
On either of them. Okay, so there's the 15.
High concentration of nitrogen. Begin to disappear as time passes. Roughly 2 years previous. Oh man, they do expect you to read.
15 types
Yeah.
of amino acids were detected.
I had a
There
feeling
was-
that
if
was
I
the case,
com-
because that seemed oddly specific.
I'll take the L on that one.
That's right. We can assume that this person
It'd be
died
nice if the game
somewhere
just told
around
you that in
2
the first
years
place,
ago.
though.
Yeah.
Someone had this disease 2 years ago, long before this pandemic began. This fact alone won't get us anywhere. But if I consider it in light of other information,
Okay, I think we just have to drag these to the little guy and figure things out. Oh, wait, we don't? Oh. Wait, do we have to go back to the body?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Let's try it.
Oh, yeah.
the skull has triangular orbital bones.
Okay, triangular.
Triangular orbital bones.
Is there any
So what
information
else
that can be-
were the pictures? Because I think that's literally, we just have to analyze.
We
look at
need
what's
the
in
pelvis.
damage to the pelvis?
Yeah,
That'll help determine the gender.
right.
The skull will give us, like the shape of the face will give us
We can determine
nationality.
something.
Right.
And then the head will tell us, like the skull will tell us the
Cranial
cranial.
sutures have begun to fuse, but they aren't
tell us the
completely
age.
fused yet. This is what's causing the cranial sutures to resemble broken lines.
So that should give us age, nationality, and sex.
I
Okay.
recall that the cranial sutures can tell something about a body.
Thanks.
Yeah, you might recall that because one of the pieces of evidence just told us that.
Okay, so let's see.
So it's a matching game. now.
Partial CS fusion. Okay, so partial indicates he's in his 50s.
That's right. A person's
Okay.
age at death can be determined from the state of the cranial sutures. The cranial sutures here have partially fused, indicating that this person's age was
In their 120s.
yes. The fusing is consistent with that of a person in their 50s.
Pretty sure
In
we don't
other
have
words,
enough data
it
to get a
means
good
this
estimate of
person
what
was
someone in their
around 50 years old at the
120s,
time of
like what the body of someone in their 120s does.
Yeah, probably not. Okay,
I
so
remember
we're
saying
looking for triangular,
Caucasian.
so Caucasian.
The German physician Blumenbach established a distinction of 5 major branches of human anatomy. One point mentioned in determining a person's race by skeletal features is the shape of the orbital bones. Comparing this with the materials at hand, this skeleton's race is
Mongolian, Ethiopian, American.
Yes, because American is a race.
Yeah.
Native American, that is a race.
Indeed.
American,
this skull has the
I mean, you could
characteristics
argue
of
it's a
Caucasian.
nationality.
Yeah, it's a nationality,
If you've been
not a
here
race.
long enough, you could
Okay.
argue that it becomes a nationality.
Males have a heart shape, females are more oval.
An individual's gender can be determined by the shape of the pelvis. According to the materials at hand, this skeleton's gender is
Both?
Both or neither.
yes. The pelvis is heart-shaped. Thus, we can deduce that this skeleton is male, a Caucasian male in his 50s who died 2 years ago and was familiar with viruses. All the information we need has been gathered.
still
Now
maintain my
we'll be able
original
to figure
guess.
out whose remains these truly are.
Conclusion reached.
Okay.
We couldn't identify this body after all.
Pretty sure I did, but I mean, I get why you
But
couldn't.
there is an important fact that I understand now. First, let's sort out what we do now. We'll talk later.
I assume that's the other
First
forensics
is
mission.
the time since death. The
Yeah.
card with that is...
Time since death. Should be the one with the ribs.
Or the one that says time since death 2 years.
Yes. The nitrogen and amino acids in the bones prove that. Remember, the body's soft tissue was gone before it was found. This suggests that the body wasn't underwater or buried. Next, I have the card stating the gender of the body. Correct. The shape of the pelvis, the face, and bones prove that. However, he had a thin build. He could hardly be muscular. Next, the age. This card tells our findings.
I feel like the statement, he could hardly be muscular, from looking at a skeleton, is flawed
Yes,
logic in any
the
case.
cranial sutures have fused with age. This proves that this person was at least in his 50s. It's possible to determine his race as well. This card shows my conclusion based on the evidence. Racial differences are mainly exhibited in skull shape. The eye sockets, cheekbones, nose ridge, it's clear.
Yeah, I like how there was one thing we went by, and then
Our
in
next
this, she's
clue
like,
is his occupation.
because of these several
Now,
things,
this is
it's
only
clear that...
speculation. But I believe this card shows what he did for a living.
the antivirals. Also the one called
Yes.
health professional.
If the items belonged to him, he was in medicine. In addition, it's likely that he worked in pathology. Now then, what was the cause of his untimely demise? This card shows that reason.
Maybe the one that says dead and conclusive cause of
A
death.
virus living within a corpse long after the host dies. I don't want to believe it, but bones don't lie.
They don't tell the truth either. They don't do much
Virus
talking.
passes into the mucous membranes on contact. He died like the man Gabe diagnosed, hemorrhagic fever. He understood what was happening. He knew why he died. He knew, and it shows in the last words he had to say.
My son, forgive me. I was enticed by the devil.
That is the truth, illuminated by the light of this life. With this in mind, I can use the data to find an individual. He's...
Really? Everybody knows who this guy is.
Don't worry, they're not actually cliffhanging us.
Just
Okay.
be quiet and follow me. We need to talk to the chief. Chief, I'd like to speak with you.
What did you say?
It may be hard to believe, but listen to me, please. The bones Gabe came here with contained the infectious virus. But since the infection is not carried by air, the chances of these bones being a source of pandemic is low. However, they may still be a clue to finding a solution.
I can't believe the two of you could find out so much.
No, this is just a coincidence. Still, Dr. Tachibana should be done with a biopsy on the same virus.
Vector of infection's unknown, but we've ID'd it. You think we'll make it in time?
It's near hopeless. The disease advances too rapidly. The infected
That's
will
the
all die
spirit.
before we finish the DNA analysis.
Damn it. Isn't there any other lead we can follow?
Surgeon dude.
This isn't a clue, but I have one more thing I must report.
You must report?
I compared the reconstructed bones to our database. Only one person was a match for the data we had.
Who is it?
Him?
Yes, Albert Sart, a professor of virology.
Oh, hey. What a
who
surprise.
vanished after the
It's the
Cumberland
person I
College
guessed.
incident.
And we're back to the menu.
Well, all right then.
Alright, so thank you very much for watching this episode of Let's Play Drama Team. I've been redxparasite,
I've been Air 327.
signing out.